The other day, my son asked me, Dad, why did you become a synth YouTuber? And that really got me thinking about all the ways that synth has shaped my life, how it's changed my life. So in today's video, there will be no new synthesizers. Next week, I'll have another synth review for you all. Today, I just want to talk about how synths changed my life. And I want to invite you to leave a comment letting us all know how synths has impacted your life, how it maybe changed it in some meaningful way. Just let us know down in the comments. And this video was sponsored by Unz. It's the synth store you go to for indie synthesizers, the stuff that you won't find in regular stores. And they're definitely worth checking out, so use my link in the description. The first time that synths actually changed my life was back in high school. We're talking late 90s. I was quite young and I had never played a synth before. I tried a lot of other instruments, but nothing really worked for me. I was jamming with some friends and a friend said, you should try the synthesizer, the Korg M1. I remember being just like mind blown. No other instrument had spoken to me like that before. And I realize now that there's this clear before and after. It was such a pivotal moment because after that moment, I knew that I had to pursue music. So music and synths are intimately tied together for me. I suppose it's the same with somebody who picked up a guitar and it was love at first strumming, but for me it was synths and it was so important. After that first jam session with the Korg M1, it didn't take long before I started nagging at my parents to get me a proper synthesizer. And I started looking at the RM1X. Now it was super expensive for me. I remember vividly that I found like an ad for one. It was just like happenstance, almost like the stars aligning, like it was fate. So I found this ad for a used one, and so my journey with synthesizers began. In this first phase of my music journey, I met a ton of music with the RM1X. I got a DX100 that I never learned. I used it basically like a glorified MIDI controller, I guess. I also used the games Music and Music 2000 for the PlayStation. And then later on, I got a computer. I think I had Cubase or Cubasis or something on it. But without the RM1X and the dedication to learn it, I would not be here today. And a while back, I actually bought the RM1X again to reconnect a bit with my childhood. I haven't seen or held one in my hands for many years. Oh my god, Jesus, it's still built like a tank. It's they don't build them like this, I can tell you. We got the manual, we got the floppy disk. Yeah, I remember this one. This one is classic. We're straight back to the 90s. Now, during my high school years, I can't say that my music was particularly good, but I did get a record label deal and I did make quite a bit of money on mp3.com. mp3.com was like really ahead of its time. The artist over there actually got a percentage of the ad revenue, but eventually I think maybe it was Sony or some big company bought it, and of course it all went down the drain, but it was really fun while it lasted. The second time that synths changed my life was actually during university. During that time, I was actually pretty lost because my parents had just split up and I wasn't sure what I should be studying or do with my life. And so music became this refuge. I spent way more time on music than I did my actual studies. Music was in effect saving me from a lot of the pain that I was feeling, and it was the go-to place, my happy place.
Jag underbara vinterland, berätta för mig historien om landet som försvann, historien om ett land utan veka, historien om landet som inte tveka.
During my university years, I was producing pretty much exclusively in the box. And back then, hardware synths was of course seen as pretty cool, but they were also really expensive. It was something very exclusive. There wasn't really a lot of like affordable hardware synths. We have a lot more affordable hardware synths nowadays than we had back in the early 2000s. And software had gotten to a point where it could really rival the hardware. So working in the box was becoming the norm. And I just remember that when I got my hands on some of the amazing soft synths like Absinthe, for example, I mean, they sounded fantastic for basically a fraction of the price of some of the hardware that was available at the time. The years I was studying at university were my most productive years in music. I also played live. It was just a very special time. I think in part because I was struggling. I don't want to necessarily say that, just because you're struggling, art becomes necessarily better. But I do think that when you have friction in your life, it can sometimes push you to do interesting things creatively, artistically. But I can also see that I was pushing myself way too hard and I was losing track of that creative voice. Because I focused too much on what other people thought about my art, about external validation, about making it in the industry. And if I were to give you some piece of advice, it would be to not seek too much external validation. Don't care too much about what other people think about your art. It's about what you value, what you want to get out there. And by all means, learn your craft, learn the synths, learn the gear, learn music production, learn music theory, but don't lose sight of what you want to achieve, what you want to do, your feelings, your goals, your motivations. Those things are super important. And looking back at those years, even though I had some success with my music, I wish that I had had less success and that I had had more faith in my own artistic abilities and my artistic expression. So after university and those really productive years in music, I actually ended up pretty much quitting making music for a while. I was super focused on my academic career, but after working for a few years, I felt hollow. I felt like I was missing something in my life. And so I found myself at a music store looking at hardware synths again. I feel like this is one of those moments where you come full circle. And I looked at the Novation Circuit Groovebox, and I was looking at the circuit thinking, do I really need this? I have some good software at home. But then I put on some headphones, I started jamming away, and I immediately lost track of time and I had a blast, and I picked it up. And that was the start of this here YouTube journey with you all. And it's interesting when you look back on it, how intertwined the music, the tech, and these like pivotal moments are. When you have a very synth-focused channel like I do on YouTube, people often ask like, oh, why is it so much about the gear? But I think it's very important to understand that electronic music is very tightly tied together with the technology. What would electronic music be like without the 303 or without the 808 or 909? Like, the technology is so intimately tied together with the music styles. With the Novation Circuit, another chapter of my life started. This was about 10 years ago, because I've been doing synth YouTube for 10 years. And to give you the same answer I gave my son when he was asking, like, why did you start a YouTube channel about synths? The answer is, I don't really know. I just started it. I didn't really have a plan. I started uploading, I had fun, I felt it was creative, it felt artistically meaningful, it felt socially meaningful interacting with you all. It was also a lot of fun to explore technology because I'm a big tech nerd. It just came together. Like I say, it's 33% the people, 33% the gear, and 33% music, and then 1% coffee, I suppose. And this YouTube journey of mine has been the creative project that I've worked on for the longest, with the most dedication, consistency, perseverance. And I think it's because of you all and this kind of weird but still great parasocial relationship that we have. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving me that, and for giving me 10 very interesting years where I've been able to meet some really cool people at synth meetups, where I've had the opportunity to test a ton of different synths and explore music in various ways, and also, of course, had the opportunity to work with great sponsors, like the sponsor of today's video, Unz. This is the one YouTube ad you don't want to skip. Unz is a synth and music gear store that focuses on gear from small manufacturers, the synths that you won't find in the big stores. Say you need a patch bay for your studio, well, they have the DF Audio Mini Bay, which is simply fantastic. Or why not the DFAM's little brother, the Metal Fetishist, or the newly released Drop synthesizer, which is just crazy. They also have the Bastel Bestie mixer, which is a portable analog mixer which I use for my local synth meetups. Or why not pick up some synth stands by Synthrise? And I've met the guys behind the store, and it's a store by true synth nerds for us synth nerds. So use my link in the description of the video and check out Unts. You support my channel and small indie manufacturers. And if I were to give you some piece of advice based on these last 10 years, it would be to dare to do something. Make stuff, don't worry too much about what others think about it. Just trust your gut, trust your feelings, make whatever it is you want to make, because life is essentially too short to second guess yourself all the time. And I just want to say a big thank you to all of you who have supported the journey, and I hope you stick around this autumn because I have a lot of videos coming. We've got some cool reviews, some new stuff, some slightly older stuff that I want to check out. We've got some tips videos, some tutorials. We got that big end of the year best of video coming. We got the synth gifts and a lot of other things. So as always, I hope you stick around for new videos and that you have a great day. Thank you.